penjara 30 bulan oleh mahkamah kita. Tapi saya fahamkan keputusan ini akan dirayu pada bulan Juni. Dan beliau juga sebenarnya baru sahaja mengumumkan dalam sesi parlimen baru ini bahawa beliau tidak akan bertanding dalam pilihan raya tahun ini. Jadi saya rasa itu mungkin sesuatu topik yang menariklah untuk kita perbincangkan selepas ini. And then next, Zunar. So Zunar, as we all know and love, is a pelukis komik yang I dare say is possibly the bravest and notorious, most notorious in Malaysia. Dan I can say Zunar ni memang dah lama beristiqamah lah, menggunakan komik sebagai medium untuk his activism, untuk mengkritik pihak-pihak berkuasa, dan tak lain dan tak bukan dalam beberapa tahun ni ialah berfokus kepada Perdana Menteri kita dan juga isteri beliau. Dan disebabkan itu, di samping anugerah-anugerah antarabangsa yang telah diraih, beliau juga telah you have garnered a rather impressive record with the authorities as well. So setakat ni telah ditahan polis selama 5 kali. Bukunya yang diharamkan sebanyak 9 karya. Buku yang dirampas lebih 5,000 naskah. Jadi you guys better hold on to this and get this very soon before it gets banned. And then antaranya lukisan pun dirampas. He has been charged with 9 sedition charges as of now. Travel ban has been instituted on him since June of 2016. And then selain itu, pejabat beliau pun telah diserbu, pencetak beliau pun telah diserbu. In fact, his webmaster as well has been arrested. And among his many accolades internationally is the Courage in Editorial Cartooning Award 2011 by the Cartoonist Rights Network International, Cartooning for Peace Award 2016 in Geneva, which was presented by Kofi Annan, Human Rights Watch Helman Hammett Award, which he won in 2011 and also 2015, and as well as the International Press Freedom Award, which is awarded by the Committee to Protect Journalists in New York 2015. And last but not least, the Courage to Fight Censorship Award in Bilbao in Spain. So without further ado, I think I would like to give the floor to Zunar untuk menceritakan sedikit tentang buku beliau yang terbaru ini. Sedikit latar belakang dan mungkin apa yang berbeza berbanding dengan karya-karya beliau yang sebelum ini. Silakan Zunar.
Terima kasih Yana Rizal, moderator kita hari ini, dan juga Rafizi. Actually, this is the first time I think I speak together the same panel with Rafizi. Yeah, that's what you're saying. Then, and you know, when you need to speak before Rafizi, there's a problem, because she got all the facts. I tak boleh bullshitting thing here. You know, I need to. So I said I don't want to touch so much thing about corruption, about the facts and figures. So I know that he will go details on that. Okay, hari ini actually kita nak ketawa. You know, ketawa. So that's why the buku ini Ketawa Pink Pink. That's kita nak the one we are going to launch today. Buku ni, you know, cover dia pink lah, you can see pink. And this lady, you know, this lady which is my inspiration. Yeah, she's my inspiration, and I think I cannot survive as a cartoonist without her. So the husband I can survive, because the husband don't say things, you know, silent. But she keeps saying things, you know. So a lot of things that and she is very cartoonable. The hair, you know. And this shows. But the book is about. This is not a political cartoon. Bukan political cartoon ni. Ini adalah cartoon for the people. That's why the cover ni dia ada cincin, you know. Of course she is famous with cincin. And the connection between cincin and kos sara hidup, and petrol, kos medical, barang naik, GST dan everything naik because of the cincin. No, I want to tell people this. Some people, they don't realize it. They thought corruption is politician work. You know, I have to do as usual. No. Actually, through this book, I want to tell you all that actually corruption is so connected with our daily life.
Yeah.
Finally, we are the one who pay for the corruption. It's very simple. How much we lost in YMDB? I hope Rafizi don't correct me this. It's 42 billion, right? 42 billion. How much the government collect GST per year? It's 42 billion. That means the GST is for one MDB. It's very, very simple. You no need to be accountant like Rafizi to count this. You know, cartoonists also can count. It's very simple. Yeah, can draw it. And this book is so special that, I mean, this book, it doesn't have ISBN. No. Why? Because I don't like the end. So we don't put ISBN here. Instead, it is, yeah. So what we have here is ISPH. Pakatan Harapan. It's simple, you know, we make cartoon already. So, you know, I draw cartoon. This is, I carry every day, you know. In my, you know, I do marker like this, pen, everything I will bring here. I bring everywhere, I draw. Of course, in the studio, I will use this type of pen or pencil. You know, I have a brush or a pen that use ink. You know? Normally, I use either Indian ink or Chinese ink. There is no Malay ink in the market. You know? I think Jamal should fight for this. You know, we want ketuanan dakwat. Or maybe they have to do that. No Malay ink so far. It's not my fault. Even in art, they don't have it. So this is thing. You know, this is a very cartoon world we are living in. And I use a special pencil. Nobody no cartoonist in Malaysia or in the world use this type of pencil. I think that's why I get in trouble for this pencil. This is not 2B pencil. This is 2.6B pencil. Yeah, you know, so that's a very special one. 2.6. You cannot get it everywhere. And of course, you know, I bring this also. This is important. You know, they make fun of me. You know, me and YB is very familiar with this. You not yet. Never mind. One day I hope, you know, kita berdoa lah sama-sama kita berdoa. Ya no, so well, sorry. Because why, you know, if let's say one day Pakatan Harapan win. It's not, let's say, Pakatan Harapan will win this election. We believe it. And, of course, because Rafizi cannot be minister, he is not contesting. There are so many people fighting to be minister, so as a solution, the Prime Minister during that time saying, okay, Zunar is a minister. It's okay, I take any minister, you know. But if it's important for you to know that if I become a minister, if you want to ask for a job, you know, come to, you know, for looking for job or contracts, I don't care about your diploma, your ijazah, your degree, PhD, I don't care. I want to see sijil lokap. Sijil lokap. Do you have sijil lokap or not? If you don't, okay, you are disqualified. Yeah, Rafizi can be lah, you know, got 5. Me also got 5, you know. So you have to taste it one time. And yeah, and you know, last 2 weeks or last week, ada lanun ditangkap. You remember that? You remember that? Di Bali. Ada lanun yang dinamakan Pirate of Caribbean. It's not Pirate of Caribbean, but Pirate of Caribbean. This is Lanun is so dangerous. Dia punya kapal, the kapal tu cost us 1 billion ringgit and 300 feet long. As big as this building, I think 300 if I'm not mistaken, the whole building. And we got a 43 crew. All is our money. This is one part of 1MDB crisis, with the whole 1MDB scandal, which is, I think Rafizi can go further about it. Yang dirampas di US saja 5 billion USD dirampas by DOJ. Dia ada private jet, hotel, bungalow, whatever lah in US. So I think and dalam ketika serbuan by Indonesian police and FBI, one person here is not very happy. You know who? There's one individual, he is not very happy, iaitu ketua polis negara. Dia kata, kenapa tak bagi tahu dia? No, about the need, So I said, of course kalau bagi tahu dia, he will definitely, lah what he going to do, maybe. And the ship is already there for 4 months. Just dekat Bali saja. You cannot go and arrest, somebody go to Bali for honeymoon, but you can go, you can go and arrest him. It's just a very not very far. But this is what happened. So this is our money. I think we know already. This is our money. So this group, this gang of pirate, orang panggil. You tengok kalau dalam YouTube sekarang, social media, people panggil penyamun, perompak, penyangak, pencuri, whatever. I pun tak tahu nak panggil apa dah this guy sebenarnya. Really. I sampai nak panggil dia kartun pun I tak sampai hati. No, because I tak mau menghina kartun. Kalau I panggil Najib dengan Rasuah ni kartun akan tersinggung. No, because Donald Duck is not stealing people's money. Then Mickey Mouse also is not corrupt. So you cannot call Najib as a cartoon, because they will be very angry. So they are worse than cartoon. So I think the important thing for us now is to really do what we can. We know already. They have to go. There is no other way. They have to go, and we are going to have elections soon. We know that. And what are we going to do? What the important thing now is what we going to do. I'm a cartoonist. I draw cartoon. Yes, I do. Rafizi in politics. She's a politician. We do political work. And Yana also activist, writer. She writes. And you people all do whatever we can. This is very important. We have another 2 months. Kalau you tak ada apa pun nak buat, you don't know what to do, come to me, I tell you what to do. No, very simple. You don't know what to do, you laugh at them. Ketawakan mereka. You ketawa saja. No regime in the world can stand if people laugh at them. Dia gelak aja. You don't have to do anything. Najib kata manifesto Barisan Nasional, contohnya dalam ucapan you see Najib say manifesto Barisan Nasional will make sure kesejahteraan for rakyat. Kita gelak, just gelak saja, no need to do anything. And you meet Rosmah Najib in front also, you just gelak. What can they do? We laugh at them because they are too there's nothing we can do anymore. This is I don't know, there's no word to say, no more word to say. So you just gelak saja, then this is the point. This is why I cover with Ketawa Pink Pink. You gelak saja, and gelak guling-guling. You know what gelak guling-guling? Tapi sambil gelak, sambil guling Barisan Nasional. It's not just gelak gitu saja. Gelak guling-guling tu gulingkan Barisan Nasional sekali. That's why we were talking about gelak guling-guling. So gelak kita ketawa aja, kita ketawa. I believe that if semua orang ketawa, semua orang ketawakan mereka, they don't know what to do. You know, they really don't know. And maybe sampailah kita force gelak sampai mungkin one day dia terpaksa keluarkan Akta Ketawa 2018. Akta Ketawa, undang-undang anti ketawa. Memang Malaysia can do that, you know. Who want to laugh and to get a permit at the nearest police station. Permit first, you know, go fill up the form. Okay, when you going to laugh? The 30th of April. You know, where is the place? They say Dataran Merdeka. How many people? 400 people want to laugh at one time, one night. Who are you going to laugh at? You know, opposition or Barisan Nasional. Barisan Nasional, you get, you know, in opposition, you get easy lah to get permit. And what type of laughter? You know, ha ha ha, he, you can register that. What you can do that? You know, Malaysia can do that. Malaysia is very funny country, it's very cartoon country. They are a government of the cartoon, by the cartoon, for the cartoon. So you need the cartoonist to do that. So, you know, cartoonist to fight through cartoon. That's what I'm doing. And I'm here, you know, buku I actually dah ada 18 and about yang kenal haram saja I think 9, ya. And yang 9 lagi tu makruh. Halal tak ada. Buku semua tak ada halal, tak ada masalah. Dan saya punya printer pun banyak, dah 3 dah kena raided by the police. So finally I unable to find a printer. No printer will find will print my book. I cannot find it. Because you need to put the printer's name here. You print printer name, nobody want to print. They also they print at night, you know. Very quiet, print at night. And what I had to do, I had to blacken the name of the printer here. Printed by, just black like this. Sendirian Berhad. Printed by black yang Berhad. And then I put the note to the police. If you want to know who the printer is, please enter scratch and win scheme. Then to fight through cartoon. Make laugh at them. Very fun at that. Use your ceiling and scratch it. That is what I'm going to do. And of course, it's not so easy to come up with this book. I have to find my own money to finance it. That is why I hope that you people can support me to buy this book, and also not only that, can also, you know, send to friends. It's important for people to read it before general election. That's why I'm really hope that this book can change the perception of, you know, of Malaysian, about Malaysian politics. It can change a bit. This is good. This book can change people's mind and they get information. This is actually more than of information. In this book, in my cartoon, I have information, I have stand, I have direction. I give direction what people to do and also stand. So, thank you very much for now.
Thank you very much, Zunar. So if anybody is interested in getting this book, you can find copies outside. I believe you all would have seen it on the way in. So without further ado, I'll pass the floor to YB Rafizi Ramli. I think the question on people's minds is, you know, what is the updates from the Parliament, what's going on right now, what's going on in the future, what are your thoughts on it?
Okay, terima kasih Yana, Bang Zunar, saudara-saudari, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat malam. Saya mula dengan bahasa Melayu dulu sebab saya ingat ada ramai yang menonton di luar sebenarnya. Abang Zunar cakap tadi, it's very difficult to speak before me, especially on issues like 1MDB, because I have facts and figures. It is more difficult for me to speak tonight in an event where everyone is supposed to Ketawa Pink Pink before Zunar, because he makes you laugh already, everything. Yang whatever I say may not be as humorous as what he has said. Saya rasa saya kenal Abang Zunar for many years, even if not directly, melalui kawan, dan dia ada telefon dia berbunyi. Bukan polis ya, polis telefon tak?
Najib.
Polis kan?
Najib calling in.
I think the reason I'm here tonight, though saya cukup berkira dengan masa saya sekarang sebab dengan pilihan raya dan sebagainya. Tetapi bila Abang Zunar tanya sama ada saya ada kelapangan untuk datang untuk menyertai pelancaran buku Ketawa Pink Pink, Zunar adalah seorang yang sangat unik, not just because dia draw Rosmah almost like muka Rosmah like this, but it's because saya tak rasa ramai orang di dunia ini yang berjuang dengan begitu lama dengan kartun, dan kartun dia ni, dia hanya orang yang cerdik yang boleh faham. Kalau bodoh dia tak faham. Jadi if you ask me, kartun yang Abang Zunar buat ni sebenarnya itu masalah kita, Abang Zunar. You draw for people who only understand consequence and effect, ya. Bagi orang-orang yang makan dedak yang tak cerdik ni, dia tak faham. But what Zunar has done is to elevate Malaysians to a level yang, if this had happened in other countries, saya rasa orang macam Abang Zunar would have been seniman negara. But over here, as a mark of betapa terbaliknya masyarakat kita, someone yang begitu pandai, it's not so much about yang dia lukis, it is how you can translate satu isu yang besar menjadi satu lukisan. Saya nak tunjuk 2-3 benda before I even go into parliament sebenarnya. Tengok muka surat 61 bagi anda baca, kan? I mean, tak ada orang lain yang boleh menggambarkan Rosmah sepintar ini, ya. Gambar pertama, bawah itu ada satu guni duit, di tengahnya adalah beg berkin, dan di atasnya ialah cincin dengan diamond belian yang besar, Dia masuk kepada gambar yang kedua, dia susun dengan cantik-cantik saja, beg duit di bawah, berkin di tengah, dan cincin belian betul-betul duduk kat atas, kan. Kemudian gambar ketiga, tiba-tiba ada gaun, pakai gaun kat atas tu. Gambar yang keempat, apabila telah dipakaikan gaun dan rambut itu dibuat 1200, maka sebiji yang asalnya guni duit, berkin dengan diamond, tiba-tiba dia menjadi, lo and behold, dia jadi Rosmah. Saya akan ambil masa setengah jam untuk terangkan benda ini di dalam satu ceramah untuk buat orang faham. Tetapi Abang Zunar actually can encapsulate everything in just one photo. Kemudian saya nak tunjuk satu lagi yang sebab tu saya kata hanya orang yang cerdik yang faham, yang tak cerdik tak faham. You see this, muka surat 63, mak versus suri rumah. You know? Mak belian makin mahal, mak jeka pergi, suri rumah barang makin mahal, mas cendok miskin dan lain-lain. Kemudian the creativity. My favourite yang Zunar lukis dalam ni is this. Saya peminat Star Wars. Kalau tengok muka surat 66, this is my favourite, Steel Wars. Kita ada Star Wars tahun ini, Star Wars The Last Jedi. Dapatkan Zunar dari Steel Wars The Last Jimmy. Kemudian kita ada Jar Jar Binks dalam Star Wars, Zunar boleh letak Jolo Binks. Dan kita ada lightsaber, dapatkan Zunar dia jadi light sapu. Dan kita ada Jabba the Hutt, dapatkan Zunar dia jadi jamah jahat, you know. So all this saya nak tunjukkan bahawa kalau orang tanya saya, going back to saya tak boleh bertanding dan lain-lain, kalau orang tanya saya kenapa nak susah-susah, Malaysia ni ada orang terutamanya yang dekat bandar rasakan bahawa dah tak ada harapan dah ya. Lagipun orang tak berminat. Kalau buat forum yang kritikal macam ni pun orang takut nak datang dan lain-lain kan. Actually all it takes is to look at the work of people like Zunar. Because kerja-kerja dan karya seperti ini kalau dilihat di secara antarabangsa, ini meletakkan Malaysia jauh di depan dari segi kreativiti, dari segi kepintaran, dari segi kemahiran yang orang kita ada. Maksudnya, if anything, Zunar is a testimony of how far we can go as a society. Kerana I don't think you find things like this di mana-mana di negara. Salah satunya ialah malam ni saya duduk perhati betul-betul saya akan berguru dengan Zunar. Jadi kalau dia tangkap Zunar lepas ni, saya akan melukis juga. Dia kata saya mungkin tak cantik macam kata Zunar lah kan. Saya juga ada peluang, saya juga tengah pertimbangkan dengan serius untuk menjadi peguam. Kerana dah halang-halang setiap minggu ada kat mahkamah. Saya rasa saya lebih baik daripada hakim, daripada peguam-peguam yang jadi peguam bela saya. Setengah daripada kertas pembelaan tu kadang-kadang saya tulis sendiri. Jadi lebih baik lepas ni saya ambil periksa je, saya jadi peguam. Itu pilihan kedua. Pilihan ketiga, kalau kita menang maka saya akan jadi juru audit 1MDB, insyaAllah. So, orang tanya saya lah, saya dapat surat daripada Mahkamah Rayuan bahawa rayuan terakhir saya untuk kes OSA ialah pada 1 Jun. Maksudnya saya ada 2 bulan je lagi. Kalau menang ke, kalau kalah ke, kalau bila sampai ke 1 Jun, maka rayuan terakhir saya akan didengari. Worst case scenario, maka saya akan ucap bye-bye lah. Saya minta Ketawa Pink Pink ni untuk gelak dalam blok penjaga je lah lepas ni lah. Bacaan setiap minggu Ketawa Pink Pink kat Zunar. Ada orang tanya saya, how does it feel? I don't know. I don't know actually, because I haven't really thought about it. Tetapi kita juga ada masa lebih kurang sebulan setengah lah, 6 minggu, 7 minggu, yang mana kita ada peluang untuk tukar kerajaan ya. Sama ada pada 1 Jun saya masuk penjara ataupun tidak. I know people say that it sounds too godly, but I think all of that has been said. Different society understood it differently. Some people call it karma. Orang Islam panggil qada dan qadar is takdir. I always think that it happens for a reason, you know. So long as you are prepared for it, it doesn't matter. But what helps me count is this 2.5 months before 1st of June is that kita ada 7 minggu untuk kita berkempen, and there are so many things to do. Kita kena berkempen dengan sebaik-baiknya. Kita kena dapatkan seramai mana orang seperti yang Zunar kata tadi. For those who can fight, and your fight is that you go into politics, you should join politics. For those who can fight and your fight is by drawing cartoons, you should do it and do it really well. For those who can write, and then your write inspire and change millions of people, you should write. The worst thing, dan saya selalu sebut daripada kecil lagi, and bila saya latih orang junior ataupun intern, I've always said the worst kind of people are the people who stand on the sideline. It doesn't matter whether you are right or you are wrong. Sometimes we are right, sometimes we are wrong, but at least we make a decision. It's the people who go to the ring and fight it and get bloody. Those people actually learn better. If you win, jolly good. If you don't win, there'll be something that you will take back and learn. Jadi kita di persimpangan, and I want to stop it and return to Yana, because I'm quite sure sampai sekarang ni dia dah jadi 180 darjah terbalik daripada apa yang program ni sepatutnya program ni lawak gelak-gelak. I turned it to be the other way around. Sampai sekarang tak ada orang gelak lagi ni. I'll tell you lah. But I just want to add like that. Kita di persimpangan yang mana orang yang buat keputusan untuk lawan BN ataupun untuk sokong BN ataupun untuk kekal dengan PAS, yang itu memang dah ada. It is about 60%. We know that. Maksudnya BN tu dia dalam 28-30%, Pakatan another 15 to 16%, PAS another 15 to 40%. Lebih kurang sama kan? Yang akan menentukan ialah orang yang sebelum ini kata dia tak berminat politik, dia tak nak campur dan lain-lain. It is these people who have to decide whether you want to stay on the sideline. Because staying on the sideline may mean making things worse. Walaupun you say both are bad or I don't want to get involved, but people who stay on the sideline usually are the kind of people who allow bad things to happen. Because there are black and there are white, but there are also grey. But God gives us conscience and heart and brain to figure out in the grand scheme of things actually yang mana sebenarnya yang ada sedikit lebih baik. And life is about choices. You always have to make choices which one is better. And I'm sure, you know, Pakatan, I'm known to speak up my mind. I don't always say that apa yang dalam Pakatan ni perfect. In fact, banyak benda yang tak betul. In fact, semasa tadi saya tengok semua ni, you know, antara benda yang dalam kepala saya ialah, saya kata lepas ni Rosmah tak ada ni, siapalah pula daripada Pakatan yang akan jadi mangsa Zunar. Because Zunar akan lukis siapa-siapa yang makan duit, yang buat hal, yang mengacau rakyat. Jadi kalau pimpinan Pakatan tak faham, you pergi ke Putrajaya, you tak jaga betul-betul, ada kes, you kacau, you arrogant, then yang kat depan Ketawa Pink Pink ni is no longer Rosmah, ya. Most probably it can be me or anyone else kan. Jadi saya tengok, dia kata, saya tak rasa orang Pakatan faham that once we change government, kan, kita juga ada banyak kelemahan, dan kalau kita tak belajar dan tak perbaiki kelemahan, then it's the right of people like Zunar to make fun of us, because bila kita ambil kuasa, we are the same. Tetapi, as I said, there is a risk, but risk itu tidaklah sama dengan apa kerosakan yang telah berlaku lah. Ini cukup satu buku, berapa ratus muka surat ni, Zunar boleh lukis kartun mengenai segala kerosakan yang telah berlaku di bawah Najib, for example, kan. That's why to those 60% who are on the sideline, you have to decide, it's not enough to leave your fate and destiny in the hands of others. The only reason I'm in politics is because I don't think shouting and complaining without lifting a finger is going to change anything. If I think I can do things better, I decided that perhaps I should go in and try to do things better. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But at the end of it, after my 20 years stint in politics in one way or another, 9 years in the frontline politics, I can basically tell anyone in Malaysia and say, you know what, I've done my bit. You know, it's like, you can love me, you can hate me, you can cuff me, you can throw me in prison, but I'm surely have done my bit and I've changed certain things that I had all along as I go along. Cuma yang lain, yang 60% dan 40% tadi tu, kalau kita nak tukar betul-betul, it's not enough to just laugh. You know, sometimes bila kita tak boleh menangis, kita akan gelak kat diri sendiri lah. But there will be a point when the misery is too much. Jadi saya harap, among a few things yang menonton di luar, yang hadir, I'm sure yang hadir semua kawan-kawan baik, I think buying this. Saya faham perasaan Zunar, because kami orang yang berjuang dengan jual barang di online. Saya jual t-shirt, and Zunar lagi mudah sikit sebab dia melukis. Saya jual t-shirt kerana saya kena pakai dan perut saya boroi. You know, so it's not easy, you know. The pressure on me to make sure that saya lose weight is a lot higher now, because I have to sell t-shirt, kan. So in the same way, I know the trials and tribulations of people like Zunar fighting for a space to put this, because yang kat belakang ni pun tak boleh, yang printer ni pun kena scratch nak tengok. So the least that we could do is we buy, kepada yang ada kat luar, we buy di luar, dan kepada yang menonton, You can go and buy online, www.zunar.my. Your 20, 30, 40, 50 ringgit goes a long way to help people like Zunar to bring marvelous ideas like this to many, many other people. So I return back to Yana. Thank you very much. I hope that I can be funnier when I answer questions after this.
Terima kasih banyak YB. So I think the next item on our agenda today is to have a short launch of the Ketawa Pink Pink book. Kita ada pelancaran sikit tentang buku Ketawa Pink Pink ni. I think it's going to be very simple ya. So minta bila ada mikrofon ni untuk perkenalkan diri, tak perlu panjang-panjang, mukadimah pendek aja. Soalan dia tu direct apa? Okay, saya buka kepada floor. Anyone? Yes? Yes, sir.
My name is Taya, good friend of Zunar's. There's one thing I would like you to stress. One thing I would like you to stress about people sitting on the sideline. I am a former military officer and I also write. But what I would appreciate from you is now there's a movement called the Undi Rosa. Though I supported them, especially when Mariam Lee and Hafiz Barum was attacked, but I can't honestly say I support them. So this is where I would like you to stress more on these people who are sitting on the sideline, because I think they are the most dangerous of the lot. And I speak as a former military officer. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, perhaps? Anyone? Yes.
Halo. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Nama saya Nazrin. Okey, nama saya Nazrin daripada Lepas Pantai. Saya lihat Mr. Zunar ada banyak idea mengenai how nak lukis kan. Jadi saya nak tanya, ada tak program yang bagus untuk membuatkan anak-anak di Lepas Pantai untuk mereka belajar macam mana nak melukis dan juga untuk improve dia punya creativity, untuk belajar melukis dan juga macam mana mereka nak express dia punya feeling, because we see PPR they are living in the poor condition, so sometimes they don't have a place to reduce the stress and so on. So ini any program for kids to improve their using their imagination and so on. Thank you.
Okay lah, Zunar, thank you. Okay, lagi soalan terakhir mungkin sebelum kita buka kepada jawapan dahulu, dan kita akan ada lagi satu round soal jawab. Yes, siapa? Soalan terakhir? No? Alright, okay, so maybe we'll start with the two questions first. Okay, Wadi.
Saya jawab dulu sebab Zunar tengah melukis. Saya I read a lot about what you write. Dan saya ulang yang itu berkali-kali kepada terutamanya yang muda. Dia sebaik-baiknya memang kalau kita nak sesuatu itu, you want it to be perfect. You know, if you were to put your efforts, you want something as exactly as you want. But this is a society, it's a process. It takes a long time before we get what we want, you know. So the decision that I made many years ago was not so much about I think one was right or one was completely right and one was completely wrong. Politicians are politicians. Power corrupts either way. On both sides of the fence, if you don't put enough safeguards and you don't emancipate and liberate the public so that they can hold their politicians accountable, power corrupts. You know, you put Zunar in the place where Najib and Rosmah is, Zunar will buy Ketawa Pink Pink exactly the same. You know, because power corrupt. So the choice that I made back then when I was young, in my early 20s, is that I may not see the kind of government or society that I want in my lifetime, but I can work towards making sure the safeguards are there. You want to make sure that the police are free and fair, and they are independent, and they don't take sides. The judges, the AG, we want to make sure that our society hates corrupt people, whether they are from UMNO, PAS, PKR, DAP, Malay, Chinese, Indian. What we hate is someone who abused their position. And that is a process. So the choice that I made is that which side of the fences, which actually are more willing to push for these changes. And for the last 20 years, it has always been the national opposition. And that's natural, because it's the government in power which is abusing everything. I'm not saying, and in fact, I say more and more that my biggest worry is that if we win, and UMNO run up, as in UMNO is really had a knockout in this general election, I'm worried that the absolute power and the honeymoon period, the long honeymoon period that we hand over to Pakatan Harapan may not be necessarily too good for society, because you need whatever is UMNO, don't finish it. I mean, you need an opposition one way or another to hold the new government in power. So I don't know what will happen, what kind of government. I don't think it's going to be perfect. I think we will have 2 or 3 years of a lot of fixing here and there on either way. But at least I know it's a better process. It's a better one than what we have now. And it's going to be a better society. Because I remember in 1998 and 1999, Zunar makes fun about how we should go and get police permit to laugh. For a lot of young people now, you don't empathize with that, because we can do ceramah on daily basis. We can even do ceramah on Facebook Live now. We can do rallies. In 90s, early 2000s, we all got thrown into lockup, and we were treated quite badly then. Jadi dulu kejayaan buat satu ceramah itu adalah kejayaan yang cukup besar, kerana polis akan dikerah, mic kena rampas, kemudian orang kena tangkap, lawyer kena pergi. Ada orang yang hanya dengan menghadiri ceramah kena berulang-alik daripada satu tempat ke satu tempat yang jauh untuk menghadiri perbicaraan kerana menyertai perhimpunan haram. And they are poor, they have to take buses to go. That was, bateri nak habis dah saya punya tu. Saya ada bateri, nanti bila Abang Zunar jawab, saya ambil saya punya power bank. Sorry. So, I cherish the fact that now we can do all that. Banyak orang, termasuklah yang undi rosak. I mean, my slight criticism of them. Of course, they don't remember back then how difficult it was. So they wouldn't have appreciated the fact that the ability to tweet, to do and to write, like what they do, to speak like I do now, is actually built on the progress that other people had fought for many years before my time. And those people actually went to ISA, went to jail, and therefore I cherished it, even though those people who fought for it, and I enjoyed it now, actually fought for it perhaps on a rather flawed platform. But what they fought allowed me to build, and whatever we have achieved now, hopefully, allowed the next group of people to build, and that's just how society progresses. Jadi, I cannot overemphasize that the best way to change society is that less people think of themselves, less people being picky, more people decide, even if there is a grain of truth, and this one group is better, slightly more than this one, it is our moral duty to actually help those guys. But Mr. Taya, just to end it, from all the work that I've done with data, with speaking to people, with collecting data, I don't think this undi rosak is a national phenomenon. It's a belief at the Facebook and Twitter. It's very limited, and I think the best thing about Malaysians are this: they may be quiet, dia tak bercakap, dia tak bising, dia tak pergi ceramah, dia tak buat apa, but deep in their hearts, dia tahu apa nak buat. They know things are bad, and I think I'm quite confident they will actually vote to change government one way or another. Thank you.
Terima kasih. Ini pada Zunar untuk menjawab soalan daripada saudara tadi.
Okay, like this, about those who are fence-sitter, so unable to make decision. This is as simple as this. Because you are, Taya, you are ex-commandant, is it? Okay, I will try to take make a military analogy here. You know, I've been trained as a military too for 2 weeks. And then you know, like this, Ashka, you know, the army military ini dia ada 2 fasa. Correct me if I'm wrong. First, yang era without war, tak ada perang. You will tak ada perang, Ashka must be very disciplined on many things. You live in the camp. Rambut tak boleh panjang, Ashka. You know, you need to cut certain way. Perut, well, Rafizi cannot. Okay, you know. And you have to, your shoes must be kilat hari-hari. Then kalau that is a very, kalau you tak buat, the punishment is very heavy. Sometimes you cannot. You have everybody come every day will be checked. You know, or your shoes, your hair, your everything. You must tie in everything. That is a discipline. You know, kalau you langgar ni, you kena lari 2 kilometer. You know, or sometimes you go solitary confinement. So the penalty is very heavy. That when you are in the camp. But bila you dah masuk perang, takkan komander nak kata, musuh in front of you, people are fighting, what happened to your shoes? What hair like this? No way, we don't talk about it anymore. It becomes small matter. We go in the war, the army, the military, fight the enemy. How you fight, it doesn't matter. It's no need to fight like kawat, you know, pop, no need. You go and shoot it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what weapon you use, it doesn't matter. It's no more about your hair, no more about your shoes. Okay, squat jump. Because you're fighting now. Because your shoes is not shining, you squat jump. They don't do it. So this is very important for us to understand. Now we are in the war zone. We are entering election. All small matters don't talk anymore. This Barisan Nasional is our enemy. Go and fight. Doesn't matter how you fight it. You don't ask your friend in a war also. You don't check your friend. You know. You are in the you fight shooting. What happened to you? What happened? No, you shoot there. Like this also, you know, don't try to correct our friend or what, you know, why Pakatan Harapan don't do this, why politicians don't do this, why cartoonists don't do that, why don't do that. No, go and fight. It's very simple. Whatever you fight, you go and fight. Doesn't matter. You know, in the war, in the camp, you have to have a proper rifle. You know, you have to clean it. Doesn't matter if in the war you don't have a rifle, you have a cangkul, you have parang, you have whatever kasut, you go and fight. Doesn't matter. This is very important. You have to make our enemy very clear. How do you go? You know, the army, you go to war, don't know who is your enemy. You go to war, I don't know who is the enemy. I don't know, maybe I want to rosakkan my senjata. You go there, you want to fight, I go to fight, I want to rosakkan my senjata. You will die. It's very simple, and the enemy will win. You know, so don't ask about that question. If you want to fight and you don't know how to fight, I can help. Yeah, I can help. But if you want to fight, you say, I got my gun, but now I want to rosak my gun. I don't care about that group. If you die, I don't want to help. I cannot help also. Because this is your fault. You know? No, Barisan Nasional doesn't matter. Now, for me, that's why it's very simple. I see even my book also don't have ISBN, I finish. I'm very clear. Because I'm a cartoonist, I'm very lucky. You know, when you draw cartoon, something that people, not very many people know this. You draw, as an artist, you have to learn perspective. And you have to learn anatomy. Perspective is what's in front, what's the back. So we're very clear about that. And the anatomy is anatomy, that means you put the head on top. You cannot put your shoes on top, your drawing can't. You make it very clear. So I use this same concept. So Barisan Nasional, people say, will Pakatan Harapan be good or not if we change? Will they corrupt or not? I take it like this, you know. Just like you hire a guard in your house, yeah, untuk jaga barang-barang. But you know this guard steal your thing every day. For 60 years, he keeps stealing. He steal this, he steal cincin, he steal Perkin, whatever lah. He's stealing every day, you know that very well. Then come a new guy, apply for a job. Interview, you ask him, will you be stealing or not? Oh, I'm not sure. Oh, because you are not sure, I take the one sure stealing. What kind of thinking is this? This is a very sure stealing, not sure, we can give a try. Just a very simple thinking. You know, don't need to say that, oh, because I'm not sure you are stealing or not, better I keep the one who keeps stealing. This will happen to you. You know, Barisan Nasional, you give another round of winning. If they win next general elections, you can imagine GST will come to 8%, 10%. They say, okay, we still billion people still support. What else in the world you can find this type of people? You know, still billion people still support. You go to London, you go to UK, you go to Australia, one wine bottle you steal. You know, when I was in Melbourne 2 years ago, before the terrible ban, you know, the mayor's wife, not like her, I don't know how she like, but the mayor's wife bought a set of wine bottles for the party using a public fund, using his husband's office fund. The husband had to resign because of that. We are 42 billion. So it is very clear, nothing can change. If Barisan Nasional still here, still in power, you cannot change anything, even a single thing you cannot change. Now they try to say fake news. Or they try to interview, they don't say fake news. Today I just got a WhatsApp from Indonesia. You know, recently Tempo published a front cover. Oh, they say DAP funded Tempo. DAP funded Tempo, I've got a photo. I can show you. It was funded by DAP. My friend in Tempo sent me that. He got it first. So, you know, so what? They don't even try to reply, try to even answer the question.
I got a different version. I mean, Zunar got DAP funded Tempo. I got Anwar funded Tempo.
So they are made fool of us. They don't even answer the question. So important for me now is we just only things, you know, you say that whatever I do, it doesn't matter, the end has to go. This campaign we need to do, go to everybody. Don't you know, I got friend. This is very brutal supporters of Pakatan Harapan. But of course last time, this story was last time in a general election, Pakatan Rakyat. You cannot beat this person. You know, he got his auntie, her auntie is a very strong UMNO supporter. But they are all in family is Pakatan Rakyat supporter. Only this auntie, and this auntie keep, you know, go to everybody, please make sure you vote UMNO, you make sure you vote UMNO. And this, my friend tried to convince her to change. She said, no, I won't change. I definitely will vote UMNO in Barisan Nasional. So what my friend did was, before election, she stole her IC. Yeah, she stole the IC for 2 days. And she cannot find the IC. You know, I really, obviously, I don't know what's the right thing to do, but in Barisan Nasional, there is nothing wrong to do this kind of thing. To do. Because, you know, kind of thing. You cannot beat this, but this is the thing. To show that it is very, there is no single 1% of reason why you should vote Barisan Nasional. This is how far people can go. So for that, yeah, that's why I say for me it doesn't matter. For me very clear. Orang kata saya tak tulis berat sebelah. Saya kata okey, saya memang berat sebelah, walaupun sebelah tapi berat. Okey lah, you know. Saya tak kisah, saya senang je. To save Malaysia, you have to vote Pakatan Harapan. It's very simple. No question as I don't want to know what if this, if as I don't want to know. Vote, don't vote, you go. Do I no sympathy for this group? No way. You don't want to change, that's your problem. You know, we need to change. Not only change for me, people like me, I'm old. Some old people, this is for you. We are doing this for you. And you don't want to have yourself doing it. You cannot do it, you know. So for me that like that. And for your question about program di Lembah Pantai, dan you yang mention very good thing. Sebenarnya kalau ada untuk buat latihan kepada budak untuk be creative, I mean how to draw cartoon. I did I pernah buat itu di Lembah Pantai. Dalam 1-2 kawasan flat. Tapi cuma sekarang ni I mungkin tak punya banyak waktu nak buat kerana saya nak jatuhkan BN dulu. Kita pernah buat bersama teman-teman kartunis, ada seorang Jonas tu dengan Johnny Ong, dua-dua yang pakai pink tu, kita pernah buat di Lembah Pantai. Dan kita juga ada buat beberapa tempat. Cuma sekarang ini, masa sekarang, saya kata sekarang ni the war zone. Bila you masuk war, tengah perang, jangan tanya cara nak melukis ya. Tengah perang ni, dia tanya cara melukis. So, but this is, I think very important. I think satu benda yang I akan for future, I kena fikir tu. In fact, I sekarang pun ada private tuition kepada 2-3 orang budak-budak yang mak bapaknya minta private tuition lah. Itu untuk lukis kartun dia. I buat je. Cuma I rasa it is very important for people to be creative. You tahu, what is creative? You know, all regime and dictator in the world, you go everywhere, they are very smart. They have advisor that which advise them and give you know the way how to tackle or how to tackle a street demonstration. They are well trained how to tackle street protest, demonstration and riot. They've been trained by intelligence. You know, so they know if you go protest, the police will come, FRU will come, they guess they know already the modus operandi very well. But they are not being trained how to handle cartoon. And creative people, they don't know. You know, this is very important for us to be very creative and fight the regime. So I think it's very important for youngsters to know how to be creative, you know, come up with all things that they don't know how, they didn't expect. Even I think you ask the police, what I going to draw tomorrow? So you don't know. So how do I know? You know, the kind of thing. So that kind of thing we need to be very creative and they must train from young. I think I setuju. Saya tidak boleh bagi janji sekarang. Kalau BN jatuh, ya saya pasti akan ajar, no problem. Jadi kamu kena vote supaya BN jatuh lah.
Terima kasih. Kita akan buka lagi kepada hadirin yang ingin bertanya, sila angkat tangan. Anyone else who would like to ask question? Yes.
I have 2 questions actually. The first one is it's a good point YB said about the concerns about the opposition candidate. That's a real concern. So I enjoyed yesterday when I saw the few of them declared their assets. And I totally see the challenges to declare an asset. You know, it's not easy. Yeah? So I was wondering whether we could create a platform, because declaring to MACC is not perhaps the best for everybody. or whether we get a platform for asking the big four accounting firms to do national service, to form a group of them. So we declare, so the candidates declare to this, and they would judge the assets on 2 criteria. The first one is completeness, you know, so roughly they can see marks out of 10. And second one, whether it's logical from their capability. So it's very important that as many candidates of opposition declare their assets, because then it puts pressure on the other party to do the same. And of course they will have challenges. So that's the first one. The second one is, I saw the TN50 campaign that they did that had some penetration. My comments on the TN50 is too far ahead. Whether opposition can come up with a similar version, not TN50 but TN20, and follow the same headlines, but give even more meaningful targets to neutralize the TN50 and to show that you really mean business this time.
Alright, thank you. Sorry, so what's your name?
Ravi.
Sorry?
Ravi.
Ravi, okay. Next question. Yes, maybe.
Good evening. Mr. Lim from Semasa. Very exalted, I can't speak that. What are we doing about those phantom voters? Some you see in the internet that one house you have.
Tanya? Ada? Tak ada? Okey, kita jawab dulu lah. Silakan.
Ada 3 soalan tadi kalau yang nonton di luar. 1, 2 soalan daripada Rafi. Rafi tanya pasal pertama, adakah boleh untuk kita melantik firma-firma audit awam yang besar untuk mengaudit pengisytiharan harta orang-orang politik, ya? Soalan kedua ialah mengenai pandangan saya mengenai TN50 dan sama ada ini sudah ada kesan yang besar kepada pengundi dan apakah ada jalan yang lain. Dan Mr. Lim tanya mengenai pengundi hantu yang didaftarkan dan dibawa masuk untuk mengubah keputusan pilihan raya. Saya jawab yang pengisytiharan harta dahulu. Masalahnya ialah kerana tidak ada undang-undang yang mewajibkan pengisytiharan harta. Dia tak ada sekarang. Segala yang dibuat itu semuanya menjadi amalan yang tidak ada kuasa dan kesan di sisi undang-undang. Sebab itu yang berlaku ialah ahli politik hanya mengisytiharkan kepada ketua mereka. Kalau di dalam Barisan Nasional, amalannya ialah menteri mengisytiharkan kepada Najib. Najib seorang je tengok kan, dia tengok dia ni ada 5 belian Pink Pink, yang ni ada. Jadi the exercise basically becomes a tool for top political leadership to stranglehold their subordinates. Because once you have information which is only classified and made available to the superior, and in our case, Barisan Nasional is only Najib, then Najib knows which minister is corrupt, which minister is not corrupt, and whoever who dares to stand up against him, he will call, and instead of showing Ketawa Pink Pink, he just show a full file of evidence of corruption. Yeah? When Pakatan Harapan came to power, the process improved a bit because the declaration was made in a simple form that was uploaded to website. But we still have a problem because the instrument does not have a legal validity, and therefore even if you lie in the form, I doubt that it has any standing legally. Sebab itu cara yang saya buat setakat ini dah dengan 70 orang ahli parlimen, wakil rakyat, prospektif, calon-calon, bakal calon ialah pengisytiharan itu mestilah dibuat di dalam akuan bersumpah. It has to be a statutory declaration. not so much just because what is important is it is not just the detail of the declaration. It has to be that the declaration must have an immediate legal impact should you lie. So the beauty of it, in my opinion, is that all the previous issues about corruption, bila sampai dekat SPRM akan kata tidak cukup bukti untuk dakwa. Oh, yang ini tak ada bukti, yang itu tak ada bukti dan lain-lain. Sedangkan kita tengok ada kapal harga 1 bilion. Kita tengok sebenarnya dalam memorandum of article of association of 1MDB, perkara tu jelas bahawa yang berkuasa melantik, yang buat keputusan besar adalah Najib, tapi SPRM kata tidak ada bukti, jadi tak boleh buat apa-apa. Apabila dibuat pengisytiharan harta melalui statutory declaration, the moment you lie and there is obvious evidence, documentary or otherwise, that you live beyond your means, all it takes is a public member to go and make a police report and give the evidence, because the breach of law is not under the Corruption Act. The breach of law is you lie under statutory declaration, and therefore it will disqualify you straight away. And I subscribe to the belief that it is better to do it under statutory declaration, because any Tom, Dick and Harry, any top 4 audit firm, anyone can actually go through and try to find evidence that you lie, because all it takes is just to lodge a police report. SPRM does not have an excuse to say that there's no evidence. You lie because you kata you tak ada rumah, tapi bila kita check dia punya dokumen SMP, rumah tu you punya. You lie and therefore you are out. So this is a process when we are not in power. Oleh kerana kita tidak ada kuasa dan kita tidak boleh kuasakan undang-undang untuk mewajibkan di sisi undang-undang, maka bagi saya cara yang terbaik masih lagi membuat akuan bersumpah, menyenaraikan harta, pendapatan dan lain-lain. Dan as you can see, people will start picking up. You ada saving berapa and so on. Once we win, hopefully, then the law has to be changed. What I notice in other countries, I think Australia has it, in the UK, even in the US, they have the office of, well, they call it Parliamentary Budgetary Office. They have different names in different country. Apa yang berlaku ialah Parlimen mempunyai satu jabatan yang bertujuan membuat kiraan mengenai semua benda. Jadi wakil rakyat yang mengisytiharkan kepada Parlimen, Parlimen ada kaki tangan di bawah jabatan, they call it, in other countries as I say they call it Office of Parliamentary Budget or something like that, yang mana dia akan semak and they will tell right, wrong, tipu, complete or not. They are basically a set of auditors empowered by the law to do it. But over and above that, they also do costing apabila parti-parti politik menjanjikan janji pilihan raya. Bila Pakatan kata kita nak hapuskan tol dan ini akan boleh dibuat kerana kita jimatkan banyak ni dan sebagainya, yang buat pengiraan cakap tipu, based on our calculation, that calculation is wrong, it will cause us blah blah blah. Itu bukan orang biasa, bukan Lim Sian Si, bukan cyber trooper dan lain-lain. It is a budgetary office that is empowered by government, by the law, to actually make costing. Jadi kalau costing tu salah, parti tu takkan umumkan kepada orang ramai. Jadi bila Tory menabur janji pilihan raya, that thing has been costed and has been approved. Well, by approved that means that they agree the calculation is correct. Kalau Labour nak buat janji pilihan raya, it would have been costed by the Parliamentary Budget Office. Jadi yang saya cadangkan, I think kalau kita menang, you have to set up something like that. Bukan saja untuk semak completeness and accuracy of the asset declaration of MPs and politicians, but to expand it to also give an honest, independent and truthful view about political parties' policy and the costing. supaya rakyat boleh tahu yang mana tipu, yang mana betul dan lain-lain. But the problem with that, Ravi, we have to win first because the law is not there. When we win, you can put any law in place. Ada negara yang tidak mensyaratkan pengisytiharan harta, tetapi dia mensyaratkan bahawa setiap hadiah ataupun kepentingan yang dapat, you must make a register. I mean, you must enter into a registry dekat parlimen lah. So it depends from state to state. But I think once we win, there are enough tools for us to put in place to compel and to make sure that politicians and public office holders cannot live beyond their means. Soalan kedua mengenai TN 50. You see, my team actually do a lot of big data analytics. We monitor Facebook, we monitor what fan-sitters say on their Facebook, we broadcast over the Facebook pages and so on. There is no indication that TN50 is making wave. There is no indication whatsoever. Bagi saya TN50 ini hanyalah satu kempen yang beri kontrak yang besar kepada advertising firms yang rapat dengan BN. It's not making any gains. Consistently for the last 15 months, isu yang paling tinggi, top 3, and by far, bukan saja top 3, ini maksudnya yang 70% pengundi ke atas memilih isu ini sebagai isu yang paling penting untuk mereka buat keputusan pilihan raya, is just top 3. Those are harga barang, gaji dan juga pekerja asing. It's all interrelated. Jadi apabila masalah utama yang dihadapi oleh pengundi adalah perkara-perkara asas, the basic concerns of the voters are the rudimentary economic issues, wages, high cost of living, employment and so on. When KJ comes and talk about where we want to be in 2050, actually it hardly appeals to the majority of the voters, and in fact in some cases it really backfires. So I love them for doing that because they shock sendiri. And that's exactly what we want to avoid. Even with opposition, I kept saying that we must avoid preaching to our own crowd. What the N50 does is exactly that. Unless and until you are able to convince the public largely that the end will be able to restore sanity to all these top 3 issues, wages, salary, cost of living and employment, you can't talk about in 2050 you guys will be earning 50,000 ringgit because they say, yeah, talk to my hand because now I'm only earning 500 ringgit. So far that's in fact, if there are people within Pakatan who wants to articulate a vision in 2050 or 2030 to rival TN50, I would caution them not to, because consistently the top 3 issues are those. All we need to talk about are just gaji, harga barang, GST, pekerja asing, corruption. They're all interlinked, and if we talk to that, this has the most resonance with the highest number of voters, and I think we are on the right track. And BN number has been dropping quite severely from month to month, and part of it is, I think, because of the failure of BN to address all these top 3 issues. Mr. Lim asked a question about phantom voters. The truth is, once they are into the electoral roll, because of 1999 court case in Likas, the law has been changed, and once they are into electoral roll, there's nothing you can do about it. It's fixed. You can't challenge electoral roll. But there are 2 sides of it, The first side is getting them or stopping them from getting into electoral roll. The second part of it is whether or not you can suppress the attendance. Once you cannot do anything about them being there in the electoral roll, what we could do is to make sure that we suppress their attendance so that they don't come out. I've observed various means that people do this, but I think the most successful ones is the one that is done by PKR team in Wangsa Maju. What they did was that they went to track, Tan Yu Q's team went to track every single house, and they listed 43 there, 57 there. They then traced back these people to their original address, because a lot of them are from neighboring Batu constituency, and then they made police report against these people. Once they made police report, because I don't think many of these people who got paid 200 or 300 ringgit to change their IC, so that with that change IC they can transfer their vote to a neighboring constituency, I don't think they realize the moment they do that is a felony, because it's a breach of law, because the moment you supply, you give an incorrect information to a government authority, that is against the law. When you give an address that you don't live there, but you say this is where I live and therefore I want to change my IC there, that is already a breach of law. They've already basically melanggar akta, and therefore there can be a police report against them, because once we have that police report, even if we don't have a police report, we can send them direct messages through Facebook to tell them that you have breached the law, we have made a police report against you. If you turn out and we catch you, we will hand you over to the authority. And luckily, I don't know whether you follow, the police has acknowledged that this is not an SPR matter, this is actually a police matter, because these people give incorrect information with a view to mislead government departments, and therefore the police will take over the case if we hand them over. And so, in that sense, of course there is no full guarantee that you can suppress 100%. But if they transfer 4,000 and you suppress 1,000, that helps a lot. If you can suppress 3,000 so that only 1,000 appears and go to voting booth, that helps a lot. And of course, we know their name, we know their number, we know exactly where they are going to vote. We can make arrangements so that life is held as they walk past through people, because bila dia sampai saja kat luar, people usually check their IC, and we know enough that you are one of those people who were transferred as phantom voters. So there's a lot of things or information that we have to send before the election day, just to tell them we have breached the law. But also on the election day itself, we have to line up our people along the polling station to make sure that they are aware. We know who you are, and we will report, or we have reported them to the police. That's the best that I can think of that we are putting in place now in constituencies which we have identified to have suffered from huge numbers of phantom voters transferred.
Okay, first of all, you got a question wrong. PN 50 is not the original slogan. Actually, the original slogan is, of course they don't show us to us. You can cancel, after the first meeting they cancel this word, one word, TN 50B. Artinya tipu negara 50 bilion. So itu sebenarnya. One MDB saja sudah 42 bilion, sudah tipu. Lagi 8 bilion senang dia nak tipu kan. So just joking dia. Little joke. Okay, tentang saya nak tambah sikit what Rafizi say pasal phantom voters ni. Memang it's very difficult because this is the whole system. Yeah? We are not only fighting Barisan Nasional, we are fighting the whole system. Dan kita tengok laporan The Economist baru-baru ni yang katakan Najib is ready to steal election. Okay. The Economist ni majalah yang sangat terkenal dan sudah lama beroperasi, saya ingat dalam beberapa ratus tahun lah. Saya tak pandai menghisap tapi saya ingat 300 tahun lah. But so phantom voters is part of gerrymandering. Part of cheating lah senang. It's very simple cheating. And we cannot fight this cheating. Apalagi lagi another 2 months, there is no way we can do. We go to court, they control court, Najib control court, the judge all change things, everything. You cannot do. You go to the police, okay, you can send to the police also minum kopi and then free like that. You know, this is normal. This is normal. There is no way we can fight. But I would like you to think of one thing, you know. Okay, there's another example. Orang semua suka tengok bola kan. Okay, kita ibaratkan this election macam you know, soccer competition between one team and another team. In one tournament, Malaysia versus Thailand. Malaysia versus Thailand, and the referee is SPR lah. Katakan contoh ya. Then referee itu bias sebelah Malaysia. Maksud referee tolong Malaysia, you know, berat sebelah lah. SPR berat sebelah, you know, SPR cheating semua dia bagi okay. Malaysia referee give 3 penalty to us. You think Malaysia can win or not? Against Thailand? Malaysia can win lah, you know, mungkin Thailand je, Malaysia, mungkin Thailand bagi and we win 3-1 sebab ada 3 penalty dan juga one, you know. Tahu, you know, something happen in the wide world, tiba-tiba World Cup Malaysia versus World Cup final lah, Malaysia versus Brazil. Contoh macam who knows, you know, Malaysia in final cup, Malaysia versus Brazil. And the referee SPR. SPR bias to us. SPR helping us. Bagi 10 penalti dekat kita. You score 10. Tapi Malaysia masih kalah 30-10 to Brazil. Because Brazil will score more. So what is this story all about? It's about that kalau kita punya kekuatan 50-50, Malaysia lawan Thailand, cheating work. Malaysia lawan Brazil, you nak cheat macam mana lah? It doesn't work. So to show that it is very important to overcome this, we need to get more numbers. That's the only way. You get more numbers, you know. I ask you a question. Now we have people say about election will be in May, yeah. Rafizi, yeah. Oh, you are not involved anymore. Okay, May lah. So we have 2 months. You know? I ask you a simple question. If start from tonight up to May, you can convince, every one of you can convince 10%. Is anybody doing that? No, you have to go. It's not the job you are doing it. Thank you very much. How many already? 10? More than 10. Yeah, it's good. That's what you need to do. It's not a job of Rafizi alone. It's not a job of Pakatan Harapan. It's not a job of politician alone. We have to do it. You get numbers. Go. If they are, if you want, you need to steal IC also, you steal, you know. Because this is important. This is important. Then you can say sorry to her after the election, no problem. But again, if we do that, we get numbers. Until one day, semua BN berebut hantu. I want a phantom voter, I want Bangladesh, I want this, I want this, I want this. They're gonna win. You know. So this is very important for us. You know, last election, why BN win? Who had them to win? You know? No. CIMB. Cambodia, Indonesia, Myanmar, Bangla. So we really need to get this. Sorry about that, but again, we need to. If we everybody, this is my intention. I want to change people's mind every day. Go to your friend, your family, your neighbors. Anybody say that no, you need to change. You know, you need to change, because if you don't change, then this country will go to the longkang. You know, we change from Malaysia to Malaysia. You're not going to be Malaysia. You know, say no, change it. This is for you. Change. Don't think. Change. Give Pakatan Harapan try. See how. You know. Last time after we win Selangor, only we can check on Ketoyo. That's right. If not, we cannot check. Also, you want to arrest Rosma or Najib or Jolo, you need to change government. You know, of course, for me personally, I said you can arrest Najib, but keep Rosma. You know, I want to draw. You know, but I want to draw. You need to. So what I mean is like this. You know, you really need to get numbers. There are things even hantu cannot have. My friend once, you know, he is an office boy. In Kapitian, the mentioned name here, but she is in love with someone very famous. He is in love. Lebih hantu punya job.
You mentioned Rosma banyak kali sangat.
Yeah, he is office boy. He in love with the boss of the office lady boss. So he want to tackle. Of course, he say oh angan-angan every day, you know, to get her. But one day he go to see Bomo. Bomo, you know, go to see Bomo to get, you know, give a photo. And Bomo say, no, this even my genius cannot do anything. Because you are office boy, she is general manager, and she is beautiful, you are, you know, kind of thing. Even hantu cannot have. So hantu only can work is they are both you know, same position. Let's say you are general manager, boss, and one handsome, one beautiful. Hantu can have. But one office boy and CEO, and one the lady is very beautiful, and you are not so handsome. Hantu cannot have. So the same thing goes to this. The hantu also cannot have. We have to fight. We have to go this. You know, campaign. Now we have 2 months. It's very, very important for our nation now. We have to do. I will do more cartoon. I will do cartoon every day. I will do a simple animation. I will change it to live in order to get more people. And even now, I already removed the copyright of my cartoon. There is no copyright. You go to more people to get access to the cartoon and they can change their mind. This is my intention. Sometimes I put a note in my Facebook, you can go there, you know. It is according to Zunar's Cartoons Act 2017. We can do a law too, you know, they are all cartoon minister can make law. Why cartoonists cannot make law? No, you know, according to Zunar's Cartoons Act 2017. It is an offense not to share this cartoon. So I really think that it is very, very important. We need to overcome this. And if we get in Malaysian context, if you get 65% vote for Pakatan Harapan, even the phantom voter also will vote. You know, it doesn't work anymore. Everybody want hantu, I want hantu, later all lost. So this kind of thing. So numbers is very, very important. You know, numbers, look at friend, you know, go and campaign, then change now, change. You know, give, you know, this is for better, for the nation, for the future generation. For people old like me, not for me, I don't face it, some people here, you know, but for future generation, for Malaysia. We change first, only that we can talk about reform. If you don't change, there is no reform. Not at all. The institution, we need to change, we need to reform. What we need to reform? Now, I ask you, what's the problem Malaysia is having now? Because it all centralized to one person. Or only 2% in Malaysia now. All centralized to them. That's why we cannot progress. We need to decentralize this. We need to have independent police. Do you see Indonesia now? You very malu, you know. They have everything independent now. After Suharto, after Rafizi took over, this is what he did. Rafizi only survived 400 days. 400 something. But what he did for Indonesia now, after he took over from Suharto, first he free media. Free media. So media can report corruption. The corruption dropped 50% already because the media can report. Why SPRM worry? Media report. So media can report. And he also free the election commission, also very important. It's free. It's free from government. And also that's why in Indonesia now, example, you know, people normally take example in the West. Malaysia say our minister say, oh, West is not our culture. Go to Indonesia. They need to have a live debate now. Live debate during election, kind of things. And then judiciary also free. And their KPK, Komisi Pemberantas Korupsi, the SPRM dia lah. They even last year they arrest federal court judge. They can do that. So this is what we need, you know. So when we change the government, we need this institution. Then nobody can be have a very, you know, centralized to 1 or 2%. Doesn't matter who going to be next prime minister. That's the change we need to do. When we have that, we can take part in policing our government. We can take part there. If media is free, we can take part. You know why? Did you see why ministers in Tokyo, prime minister in Japan, Korea, anything happen they resign? Why? Why? Because the media is free and public are voicing through media. That's what we need. You better you don't say, oh, I deny, I don't know, this is no connection. You cannot say that. So this is the thing we need to build our country with. But I'm not sure whether it can be done or not. But what I'm sure is if Barisan Nasional is in power, there's nothing can be done. So better give a chance to Pakatan Harapan and see what they do, what can they do.
Maybe we'll just go one last round of questions before we end the session. Yes, sir.
My name is Theo. YB Rafizi, you once said that even in the three-corner fight, with Bas being the spoiler, there's still a good chance of Pakatan winning the election. Now, how do you come to that conclusion? And how confident are you now of Pakatan winning the coming election in light of this delineation exercise? Thank you.
Thank you. Another 2 questions. Lagi 2 soalan mungkin. Yang terakhir. Belum tutup ya. Ada lagi. Ya.
Assalamualaikum YB Rafizi dan Zunar. Saya nak tanya sikit dengan YB. Sekarang ni boleh dikatakan saat-saat akhir daripada parlimen kita ni akan habis. Adakah Najib akan macam kanit SPR dah buat persepadanan semula? Adakah Najib akan announce di saat akhir, sebab nak katakan dah tak boleh bentangan usul atau apa-apa kan sekarang ni? Najib, bagi saya Najib, adakah dia akan mengumumkan persepadanan semula? Maklum PR14 ni boleh dikatakan daripada Facebook, Twitter, blogger semua boleh dikatakan semua serang UMNO BN, dan UMNO pun boleh dikatakan nak bubarkan lah ikutkan dia punya tembakan. So saya nak tahu perkembangan parlimen saat-saat akhir.
Okay, terima kasih. Ada soalan lagi di belah sana? 4, okey lah. Boleh.
My name is Jimmy, and I get very excited, and the way, especially now, what the book of them saying, I just would like to share my thoughts. Okay, what I learned from Invoke. Okay, when I come to know Invoke about the same time that Invoke started, but I do it quietly myself. Yeah.
Right. Okey, saya nak tanya, nama saya Bahrudin Ahmad daripada Paling Membantu Bawah dan Bawah. Kalau kita tengok situasi sekarang ni, memang Barisan Nasional, terutama sekali Najib lah, dia amat gerut jika sekiranya rakyat mengambil keputusan dah fed up lah dengan apa yang berlaku sekarang ni. Kalau sekiranya ada rezeki, Pakatan Harapan akan tutup Putrajaya. Tetapi orang yang seperti Datuk Seri Najib, tentu dia takkan menyerahkan benda ini begitu mudah sekali. So kita khawatir planning dia untuk mengekalkan kuasa, sama ada secara halus ataupun secara yang lebih halus lagi, yang tak terfikir oleh manusia, yang waras dia akan lakukan, ya? So saya nak tanya, apakah peranan bagi pihak pemimpin atasan Pakatan Harapan? Adakah mereka sudah bersedia untuk menghadapi kemungkinan-kemungkinan di luar dugaan yang akan dilakukan oleh Najib untuk mengekalkan kuasa? Yang saya khawatirkan sekali, dia akan menggunakan kuasa mati. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih. Yeah, but if I may just play devil's advocate here, because Zunar was talking about how we must be very clear about who the enemy is, and the enemy is the end, in his words. But I think for a lot of people, especially for the fence-sitters, they were quite clear about that. But come Tun Mahathir in the picture, now things get a bit blurry. So how do you respond to that?
Yang ini lagi kuat, so this one is not so kuat. We have about 5 or 6 questions. Let me answer Anna's question to about, the so-called Mahathir joining. This is how I view it. We can't read what is in anyone's heart. Frankly speaking, if you ask me, is Mahathir honest? Is Mahathir planning something else? What does it? I don't know. I can't read his heart. That's the realm of God. I can't tell what he has in his mind. But you also have to remember this. The Pakatan Harapan that he is a part of is very much different than the BN and when he was a Prime Minister. He does not have power. And Pakatan Harapan is led by a council. He has to get permission of councils to say or to announce certain things. And then even if we win, chances are at the very most, at most, there will be an equal representation, and the biggest parties most probably are still PTR and DAP. And because we are not going to win with super majority, it's going to be a simple majority. All it takes is just one small party to withdraw support from the government and the Prime Minister will fall. So given all this, it's fair to accept that there are enough safeguards to avoid Mahathir from being what he was before. Yeah? Therefore, we then have to go to the next question. Does Mahathir joining Pakatan Harapan adds value to our fight to remove Najib? Yes. Resoundingly yes. Of course, there are pros and there are cons, but I think he has the work cut out for him. He has to go and try to get and convert those Malays from among the establishment who previously wouldn't have voted for us. Does Mahathir have an overwhelming cloud with the Malays to swing it? No. But we don't need to win 60 or 70 or 80% of the Malays. We only need to win enough to win. And Mahathir should be able to provide about 2 to 5% of the additional Malay votes which previously perhaps we didn't have. Is Mahathir again? Is Mahathir does Mahathir command more Malay clout than Hadi or Anwar? No. Anwar has his followers, Hadi has his followers, Mahathir has his followers, but the followers are mutually exclusive. So that when you add Mahathir's followers and Anwar's followers, some from Mat Sabu and so on, picking every single group of people and bring them on board to win, then we will achieve the number. And that's how change happens anywhere in the world. I've said this over and over again. I have not seen a single change of power, at least in living memory, which does not involve a crossover of someone from the previous dictatorship or the previous regime. When Corazon Aquino marched in 1986, she was able to win and eventually topple Marcos because there was one key figure on his side, Fidel Ramos, who was the defense minister, secretary of defense, who was the right-hand man of Marcos against dissent. And Ramos crossed, and I think Ramos did eventually become a president, you know. Likewise in Indonesia, it was the generals, including Prabowo, Wiranto and others, who we don't have to back them up for their previous record. I think their records speak for themselves. But at that particular time, as what Zunar had mentioned over and over again, what we need is a gun to shoot. Any additional gun that shoots and kill an additional enemy helps. Of course, once you win, you know there will be new laws, there will be new sets of things, and so long we make sure that there are enough safeguards that there will not be a return to the previous regime, I think that is a sensible step for anyone who wants reform has to make. And that's exactly my view about it, and that's what I have done. I have somehow love and hate relationship sometimes dengan Tun, I suppose, because while I agree and I defended the decision, I don't necessarily agree with him all the time. You know, there were times when he felt that I'm a loudmouth who always say different things, and it was a lot easier for him when he was in BN. It's quite obvious, you know. So I think I take comfort that should we win, it is a different government than what Tun Mahathir or Tan Sri Muhyiddin or anyone was used to. Right? So I'm not that concerned about the effect that Mahathir will dilute whatever reform agenda that we have carried. After all, he had agreed and signed up to the manifesto, and by and large the manifesto that was launched was an accumulation of what the opposition coalitions have fought for the last 40-50 years. It's just add-on, and Mahathir had subscribed to it. I would have had a problem if Mahathir came on board and he didn't want that, and he wanted to dictate differently. That would have been different. To Mr. Tio's question about 3 corner fights, I think I can claim a trademark that I should be given an award as the prophet of 3 corner fights. I was the first one to be very committed to 3 corner fight from the very beginning, and a lot of people think that I was crazy. But all it takes is just to understand the electoral mathematics, you know. Semenanjung has 165 parliamentary seats. 40 of these are engineered, or not engineered, 40 of these are super majority non-Malaysians. Bukit Bintang, PJU, you know, those seats in Penang. It's a putih. It's just impossible for PN to win no matter what you do, because they have about 70 to 80% non-Malay voters. Kepada, for example, you know. So come what may, BN has given up with his 40 non-Malay supermajority seats. There are the other side of the coin, which is the 40 supermajority Malay seats. And the Felda settlements dominate these 40 supermajority Malay seats. Opposition can forget it. PAS can forget it. PAS has fought these supermajority Malay seats for donkey years. PAS hardly won, never won. The only time PAS had ever won in some of these seats were in 1999 when there was a black eye incident. Otherwise, forget it, you can have it. So, the fate of the nation actually is going to be decided by approximately 90 mid-seats which Mahathir and the previous SPR created in 2003 redefinition exercise. What are those seats? The majority of those seats are the seats in Selangor. Seats like Pandan, seats like Kelana Jaya, seats like Bandar Tun Razak, Setiawangsa, Wangsa Maju. The other states with majority of these seats is Johor. Seats like Pasir Gudang, Johor Bahru, Tebrang, Segama, Batu Pahat, Keluang, you know. And then you have a sputtering of these seats in Penang, Bayan Baru, Nibong Tebal. You have all the state capitals in the country, all these kind of seats, Kuantan, Seremban, Ipoh, and so on. Now this is where the three corner files actually give advantage to Pakatan on two conditions. Number one, the non-Malay supports remains at the pre-GE13 level. The Chinese at around 79 to 81%, the Indian between 40 to 50%. If that remains, that means that the bulk of the Chinese votes side with Pakatan, so we are okay. So first condition. The second condition is that BN's Malay votes must fall below 40%. If it's above 40%, then it's quite difficult. You can do the maths yourself. Because I always give Hishamuddin Hussein's constituency as a perfect example. Sembrong is basically a constituency carved out of Keluang. Keluang was split into two, the town of Keluang. The bulk of the town of Keluang remain in Keluang, where MCA and DAP fight because it's a super majority Chinese seat. Now a quarter of Keluang town is then merged with the surrounding Felda areas to become Sembrong. So Sembrong is a very unique seat because it has about 30% non-Malays, mostly Chinese, and 70% Malays. The majority of that 70% are from Felda. And this used to be BN's fixed deposit. When Pakatan commands 80% of that 30% Chinese voters in Sembrong, in the back we already have 24% of the votes. And bear in mind, to win a three-corner fight, you only need to surpass 38% of the popular votes, not 51%, because it's a three-corner fight. You know, we need to just surpass 38%. We've already gotten 24% in the back because 80% of the Chinese, and the Chinese are 30%. Now, what happens to the 70% Malay? That's why we set up Invoke, because we don't know. No one has any data whatsoever for the last 50 years. Should there is an all-out three-corner fight between three almost equally strong coalitions vying for Malay votes, how exactly the Malays are going to vote? All the political analysts, all the professors, all the writers who say one way or another, I always challenge them, give me the data. You and I know they don't have the data. Because there has never been such three-corner fights in our history. We set up Invoke because I said, you know what, I'm not going to go to war blind, you know, with blind. I don't know how Malays are going to vote. Because of that, over the last 18 months, we have done perhaps the most number of polling and vote preference data collection ever in the history of this country. I can say that. Because we basically collected vote preference from 500,000 voters, Malay voters mostly. And as early as January 2017, the number was already astounding. Because even back then, in January 2017, UMNO's vote in the three-corner fight was about 43%. Remember the second condition? UMNO's vote must be below 40%. As we went along, UMNO votes had come down month after month. As of this month, as of the first week of March, UMNO votes among the Malays is about 29%. Yeah. I may sound cocky because I have the data. And unless other people actually come up to me and say, we've done similar polling with similar stratification, with similar methodology, and they've done 500,000 polling over the last 18 months, then I say, well, fair enough, you disagree with me, but I'm quite confident that we're going to win. Because in December, UMNO votes was 41% among Malays. In January, it dropped to 35%. In February, it dropped to 28%. In March, it came to about 29%. But the drop is real. And as the rate things are going, I don't think BN will exceed 40% Malay vote now. If UMNO, let's put UMNO 40%. Let's put UMNO 40%, right? And then so far, past numbers is showing hovering between 17 to 19%. But let's give them even higher support. Let's put it at 25%. A quarter for every 4 Malays, 1 Malay support pass. 40% UMNO, 25% pass. Pakatan numbers now is about 15%, but there are 40% Malay voters who say they are undecided or they refuse to disclose. So you have about 28% UMNO, about 15% Pakatan, about 17% pass, and about 40% who say I have not decided or my vote is confidential. So even if we say UMNO still has quite a lot of voters from among the undecided, so that you split them into 40, 25 to pass, now the remainder is 35 is to Pakatan. You put it back into Malay votes in Semberong. So out of 70% Malay voters in Semberong, 35% is Pakatan. So 35% is Pakatan is about 24%. 24% from Malay plus 28%, 80 out of 30, 24 lah, 80, 30, I can't count anymore. 30% of 80 is what, 24 kan? So 24% from Chinese plus 24% from Malays is 48%. Pass is a corner. 25% of Malay of 70, a quarter of 70, that is about what? Is about about 70%. 70%. So in the three-corner fight, they are gone. Even though they command 25% of Malay votes, this is a three-corner fight. First past the post, you only garner 25% out of 70 because they get 0 from Chinese and Indian. 25 out of 70 is about 70% gone. Okay? So Pakatan has 48, PAS has 17, 48 plus 17 is 65. You do the maths, what is BN? 35. Not only that, we can win Semberong, which is Hishamuddin's hardcore Malaysia, we can actually win with a huge majority because this is a three-corner fight. The reason why in the beginning I tend to be a bit, harsh with people who question about, if without PAS, matilah kita, this, I said, you know what, you should go and do your homework first. Because if you know that the constituency is designed such as that, you know the battleground is basically Malay mixed seats. And in Malay mixed seats, in three-corner fights, UMNO hates me for saying this, we dilute the Malay votes. the Malay votes are split 3 ways, every single group is as big as the Chinese or Indian groups combined. As simple as that. So when you do that, and Pakatan commands overwhelmingly the Chinese and Indian votes, all it takes is just additional 20-30%. So much so that so long as Pakatan actually gets above 30% of the Chinese vote, even though BN gets 40%, a 10% difference, we will still win Putrajaya. And on that basis, you know, we have been campaigning steadily on that basis. And I think, Mr. Teo, even as we speak, I think we should be able to cross 100 seats in Semenanjung. And we have to hope our friends from Sabah and Sarawak can deliver another 15, which I think they can. So I think we will win Putrajaya, but it's not going to be by big majority. And that brings about your question about what are we, no, not your question, it's actually your question about, I will talk about redemption something first. That brings to your question about Najib ni akan buat sesuatu darurat ke tidak untuk bagi kalangan. Okay. This is my question to opposition supporters. Our views are very much shaped because we spend our time among opposition supporters. And you know what? Only opposition supporters actually think Najib is going to lose. Najib thinks he will win 2/3 majority. You go and talk to BN guys, they're all laughing. They all think they will win 2/3. Because they take a very simplistic approach, which is when Malays are split 3 ways, and in the last general election, even with PAS on board, Pakatan tak menang. Jadi now, they think that the Malays remain exactly at the point we left in 2013, and they just take away the past votes, thinking that the rest of the Malays remain with UMNO. You and I know that's not true, you know. Malays have realigned more or less. It's almost the same now. UMNO ada about 35 to 40, Pakatan ada about 30 to 35, PAS ada about 25%. So it's almost split 3 ways. And even though UMNO may lead or Pakatan may lead in certain area or PAS may lead in certain area, the difference is not big. The premise that BN use now ialah sebenarnya dengan tak ada PAS, sayur hancur kerana undi Melayu tak ada, and therefore akan dapat 2/3. For that reason, bang, number one, I don't think Najib even toys with that idea that much lah yang dia kena buat semua ni, because dia rasa dia menang. But kita tak, we shouldn't be complacent and take things for granted. This is where I think it is important to understand how the Malay grounds have shifted. When you have Malays divided that way, and for every 10 Malays, at most only 4 Malays support BN, 6 Malays are against BN, whether they are with PAS or whether they are with Pakatan, the majority of Malays are against BN. And therefore, when push comes to shove, kata hypothetically, Najib isytiharkan darurat after election and suspend parliament. Do you think he would just do that and then things just go happily ever after for him, Cinderella? Of course, for every action there is a reaction. There will be repercussions to that decision. And what is the reaction to that decision? There will be 1 million people marching on the streets. Majority are Malays in Kuala Lumpur. Now, we've said that over and over again. I've said that. I've said that. Tun Mahathir has said that. Other Pakatan leaders have said that. You steal this election will be on the streets. Then, okay, rakyat ada 1,500,000 dan tak balik dekat jalan. What would Najib have to do next? Najib has to order the army ataupun police to go and disperse the crowd in whatever means. And you know what will happen? They will refuse to do it. And you know that this is not fairy tale yang saya beritahu. Ini sudah pun berlaku dalam tahun 1998. Dia tidak berlaku di Malaysia. Dia berlaku di mana? dia berlaku di Indonesia. That's exactly how Suharto felt. Another reason why I'm cocky, because I read history more than other politicians do, I think. You know, that's exactly what Suharto did. Dalam tahun 1998, dia terlalu yakin dengan kekuatan dia dan juga bahawa dia ada kuasa penuh di atas tentera dan juga polis. Sedangkan yang menderita tu rakyat biasa, because orang kelaparan. They were starving. The people in Jakarta were starving then. Jadi yang demonstran itu adalah pelajar-pelajar dan mahasiswa-mahasiswa, and they refused to go back. Suharto sent the military in. One or two, I think, of the students were shot. And you know what happened after that? The military turned around and brought him down. Kita sudah sampai ke climax itu. Kerana yang menderita ialah polis biasa, tentera biasa. Dia orang seksa, they suffer exactly like you and me. They provide better home, we need to provide better education, and the biggest beneficiary is going to be them. Now, kalau abang jadi ketua polis or general, you have been receiving special branch and military intelligence officers MIO reports for the last 12-13 months that the majority of the Malays and the public are against PN. You know it. It's not a shock. You know that UMNO is going to lose. You know that the public is against Najib. Do you think they will order their rank and file to shoot at the public? They won't. Because the only way to disperse is to shoot. They won't shoot because it's treason. And you know what will happen? They will turn back to Najib and say, Najib, we don't mind BN, but not you, you have to go. Jadi kalau tanya saya, I don't think Najib can stay in this election, after election, whether or not BN menang atau kalah. If he dares, dia berani instruct the military ataupun gantung parlimen atau umum darurat, he just signed a death warrant for himself. It's treason. And he's not stupid. And I think what will happen, kalau dia kalah, dia akan ambil jet and the first jet to fly out. And then
leaving on the jet plane.
Okay. So at last kali soalan tadi pasal persempadanan. Persempadanan I think should not be too much of an issue, because remember, redenomination only works if the Malays are overwhelmingly with PN. You put in more Malays into a constituency, because for every 10 Malays you put in, 7 will vote for BN. Or in Johor dulu, for every 10 Malays, 8 or 9 will vote for BN, and it will basically tilt the balance compared to the Chinese votes. Now put it now, for every 10 Malays you add into a constituency, only 4 will vote for BN, 6 actually vote against that. So the moment the Malay votes have realigned into 3 almost equally competitive support for BN, PAS and Pakatan respectively, the whole notion that redenomination will be able to tilt the balance to suppress the effect of the non-Malay votes is gone. So we round the number. When I declared last Friday that Pakatan is on route to winning at least 89 seats, that has already taken into account redenomination. Even with redenomination, we are winning 89. And the crux of that is Malays have realigned, and the Chinese and Indians remain staunchly with Pakatan. And that's the best thing that had ever happened to this country since 1969. When was the last time all the 3 major races actually think alike about what to do with their government? This is the first time. So I want this, and I want to end before I bagi kepada Abang Zunar, sebab saya dah dapat message kena keluar daripada Dewan ini. And we should not lose that opportunity. This is the first time there is a unity of purpose among all the major races, and I think should we win, with all the flaws that the new government will come in, it is also the best opportunity to rewrite everything from scratch. That's why I keep saying rebuild, because we have it on a clean sheet of piece of paper. Let's rewrite what is best. So if you want to have a new Malaysia where everyone has the same place under the sun, everyone has to be in it, fighting for it. And as Jimmy said, you don't just leave it to politicians. I'm not standing. I can't stand, and most probably I will go to jail. But that doesn't stop me to campaign almost daily, and during the weekend, I usually speak at 7 to 10 ceramah every day, because everyone's in it. And it's only when everyone's in it, then I think macam Abang Zunar kata, don't worry about hantu or penipuan lah. We should be able to win because our number by far outweigh that. So thank you. I see you in Putrajaya with another book about Rosmah in the future.
Okay, terima kasih YB. So I think we are unfortunately running out of time. I know there's a lot of conversations going on. Perhaps you can ask YB on the way out. But for us right now, we have, because we only have until 11 in this space. Jadi kalau sesiapa nak beli buku ada di luar, we have a signing session here. So you can come and meet Zunar, get your autograph book here. So